They expressed their displeasure when they addressed members of the Parliamentary Press Corps on the issue, lamenting that Mr. Ayine was speaking as a Member of Parliament, Chairman of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament, and not only as a lawyer.
We in the minority find the invitation to be in utter bad faith and meant to be an attack on free speech, on Parliament, and academic freedom. This invitation must also be seen to be an attack on freedom of expression, and is only deepening growing concern about the creeping culture of silence in our country, which is gradually lingering its ugly head on our democratic dispensation, and therefore a grave threat to the sustenance of democracy in our country. In our view, Dr. Ayine was speaking as Member of Parliament, Chairman of the Subsidiary Legislating Committee of Parliament, and not only as a lawyer. I emphasize, he's Member of Parliament, he's Member of Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament, and Chair of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament. He has a duty and responsibility as Member of Parliament and Chairman of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament to speak to the public on matters of public interest, as he did at the forum on the presidential electing petition and its impact on Africa's democracy. Why must the tangential fact that he is a professional lawyer deprive him of his right to free speech? I ask. First, as a citizen of Ghana. Secondly, as Member of Parliament. And thirdly, as Chairman of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament. Probably even if he made these comments on the floor of Parliament, he would have been covered by privilege. And therefore, it will also raise a question whether his privileges are not being disrespected if he was speaking in his capacity as Chairman of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee. The Chief Justice's position, in our view, is an infringement of Dr. Ayine's right to free speech on all scores and intended to render him ineffective as a representative of the constituency and as Chairman of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament.
Dr. Dominic Ayine was alleged to have made the statement at a panel discussion hosted by a civil society organization, Center for Democratic Development (CDD), on the theme Presidential Election Petitions and Their Impact on Africa's Democracy. The Chief Justice's petition hence was said to be based on hearsay, as he says his intention has been drawn to the statements allegedly made by Dr. Dominic Ayine during the panel discussion. The NDC minority therefore noted with regret that the Chief Justice is on record in recent times to have demonstrated his intolerance for dissenting views, particularly those emanating from minority members of Parliament.
It must be observed that this is the first time that any Chief Justice in Ghana's history is descending into a matter of discourse to prevent a Member of Parliament and a lawyer from freely expressing his right to free speech in a matter that is not pending in court, but arising out of a judgment of the Supreme Court. Could this be fighting a proxy electoral battle on someone's behalf? And I emphasize it. This is post-judgment commentary. And therefore, when the Supreme Court rules, are we not allowed to critique the judgment? Are we not allowed to discuss the judgment? Are we not allowed to analyze the judgment?
They therefore call on the Chief Justice to reconsider his request to the Disciplinary Committee of the General Legal Council to investigate the alleged statements made by Honorable Dr. Dominic Ayine in the interest of peace, national cohesion, and to safeguard our democracy.
We note with satisfaction the CDD's credentials and their contribution to the evolution and development of multi-party constitutional democracy in Ghana. Indeed, their record is a proud one in terms of their contribution to democratic development of our country. Dr. Ayine's standing to make academic commentary or criticisms of a judgment delivered by the Supreme Court, and by extension expressing an academic opinion on the independence of the judiciary. We therefore conceive Dr. Ayine's comment seeking to improve the administration of justice. He probably shared those views as his contribution as to how Ghana can further deepen its democratic practice, improve the functioning of its democratic institutions. We consider the actions of the Chief Justice a restriction of political speech or on debate on matters of public interest. The hostility emanating from the Chief Justice's office will only negate Dr. Ayine's right to free speech and undermine Ghana's standing as a beacon of democracy that respects the values and ethos of democratic practice. We are therefore calling on the Chief Justice to reconsider his requests for Dr. Ayine to appear before the Disciplinary Committee of the General Legal Council to investigate the alleged statements in the interest of peace, national unity and cohesion, and more importantly, to safeguard our democracy. I thank